welcome to No Skips. This is a show where we talk about albums where you don't skip any of the songs on it. That's right. So you put it in the CD player or you play it on YouTube Music or whatever, and you listen to all the songs, okay? All the songs. Maybe you put it on your Zune. I don't know how many people remember that or not. I used to have one because I thought that was really cool. I thought the Zoom was going to stick around longer than it did. But anyway, you don't skip any songs. That's what the point of this show is. I'll stop with the goofiness. Let's get into the album. We are talking about Linkin Park. This is the third album that we have talked about with Linkin Park. We talked about Minutes to Midnight. We also talked about Meteora. And today we are talking about the album that came before both of those albums, kind of going in reverse order, Hybrid Theory. Okay, now this album came out in October of 2000. And when it hit. It changed the game, in my opinion, when it came to rock music. And I think a lot of people, especially Linkin Park fans, would agree with me because for a lot of folks, this is a core memory for them. You know, we've talked about that a little bit on this show before, where everybody's got different entry points into their favorite band. You know, maybe it was the first album, or maybe it was the third album, or the fifth album. You know, we all have those different, moments where we became a fan of whatever band it is. And for a lot of folks, this is where it started when it came to Linkin Park. Some of those original Linkin Park fans, you know what I'm talking about when I say that. That's when they came in. You know what I mean? But this album came out in October of 2000. It is 37 minutes long, 37 minutes and 45 seconds. So we'll round up. We'll say 38 minutes total. Okay. So you could literally take a 30-minute break if you get one. And, you almost get to listen to the entire album in one sitting. But I definitely would encourage you to listen to it in a sitting the way the artist intended it, which we talked about in the last episode. But anyway, the singles from this album. The first single was One Step Closer. Second single was Crawling. Third single was Paper Cut. And fourth single was In the End. Now, again, as I talked about in another video with Linkin Park, they always tried to do something different with their music videos. So I would definitely encourage you to watch their music videos. Some people don't like music videos. They're like, just give me the song. I don't care about the music video. But this is a band that did put effort in to their music video. So I would encourage you to go check those out. All right. But with all that being said, my favorite song off this album, Paper Cut. That is my favorite song. That was the first, by the way, the first Linkin Park song I ever heard was Paper Cut. And I talked about this a couple episodes ago, but for me, I had heard Linkin Park. I had heard mostly the singles from Linkin Park because that was what was on the school bus. Everybody was listening to Linkin Park and, enjoying it. They were also listening to Limp Bizkit at the time. So that was kind of fun. Where I was living, that was kind of the two bands that a lot of people were talking about when it came to this type of rock music. But like I said, the singles kind of got me into them. And then on Minutes to Midnight, What I've Done, the song they had on the Transformers album, and Leave Out All the Rest is what made me say, I need to stop listening to the singles and I need to go back and start listening to the entire albums. That's what made me invest more of my time, if you get what I'm saying. But Paper Cut for me, that's an awesome, awesome song. And I know when they play that live, when they used to play that live, people would go nuts. And I say used to play that live because I don't know if they're still doing concerts post Chester's death. I know they were for a little bit there, but I don't know if they've done any new concerts since. So I don't want to say something that is incorrect. All right. But I would encourage you to go to their website, see, because I know that after Chester passed away, they were doing some concerts where they would have the crowd sing Chester's parts. And that's actually pretty cool. Like, it's actually pretty moving whenever you do watch those. And I'm not saying go watch those and those alone. I mean, obviously, look at the band when Chester was there, when he was still with us. Go look at that stuff too. But the way they did it was classy, in my opinion. I thought it was classy instead of just going out and finding some random person and saying, go be Chester, when there's nobody that can do that. That kind of puts whoever that singer is in a hell of a position. And if they do at some point, I know this is kind of branching off, but if they do at some point come out with a new lead singer, I will give that a chance because I feel like at that point they have had enough time to really figure out who might be the right person for that. But at this moment in time, I like the way they handled it right after he passed away. I thought that was a very beautiful way for them to handle it. Mike Shinoda and the crew there for Linkin Park. So with that being said, let's get back to this album, Hybrid Theory from 2000. I gave you the singles. I gave you my favorite song. I'm just going to take a quick look here at some of the other songs and see if there's any other ones that I wanted to mention to you that I know off the top of my head. Been a while since I've listened to this album in its entirety. Again, I got to do that at some point soon. But I will say, as I'm looking at this, mainly the singles. Those are the ones that like really stood out to me. But again, there's no bad song on the album. That's why I'm calling it a no skips album. So check it out if you have not already. If you haven't in a long time, maybe give it a re-listen and let me know in the comments below what you think about this album. Again, it's called Hybrid Theory by Linkin Park. Came out in the year 2000. In my opinion, it changed rock music for the better. I think it changed rock music for the better. And I think Linkin Park, much like I talk about Fall Out Boy and how Fall Out Boy is one of the, in my opinion, founding fathers of pop punk. I feel like one of the founding fathers of this type of rock music is Linkin Park. And I think a lot of other bands were trying to do what Linkin Park did. And they still, to this day, try to do what Linkin Park did, not in a copycat way, but kind of in a paying homage to, honoring, and keeping that type of music around. They do that nowadays. But Hybrid Theory, Linkin Park, it's a great album. Again, about 38 minutes of your time. It's worth it. It really is. It's worth it. You probably spend longer flipping through TikTok, finding random videos of, cats and dogs. Listen, I do it too. Spend that time one day, spend that time listening to this album instead of scrolling through. You won't regret it, my friends. With all that being said, hey, be good to yourself, be good to others in that order. I'll see you next time with a different artist right here on No Skips.